Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today, I wanted to take a look at my review. Since last week, I did X8 Drums on Fire Mountain for you folks. It's a controversial film from the Back Me series from Dungeons and Dragons in the mid 80s and 84. I thought it would be fun for me to knock out my favorite module that started everything a few years earlier, 1981's X1, and this is the Isle of Dread for you folks. So let's get started with it. Again, this is my favorite module of all time for Dungeons & Dragons for you folks. It was published in 1981. It was written by both David Cook and Tom Moldvay, and the art was by the cover art was by Jeff Dee for you folks. It's sort of based on the pulp era, the Lost World stuff, as well as King Kong film too. You can see that the Skull Island pretty heavily influences it before they're taken back and so forth. So you can definitely see King Kong and the Lost World stuff too. Love it lots. It's set in Mystara. It sort of launches that world for you folks, and I think it's a great opportunity to get that started with you folks. So this is basically, again, the first of the expert modules. That's what the X stands for, which means it's all about exploration. So it's in the Back Me series. So that's what the B stands for basic. That is the explorations, the first 3 levels for you folks. And then the E stands for expert. That's the explorations. It's the next levels, the 9 level from 4 up there. Usually more spells and that sort of a thing, more options and that sort of a thing. It grows you out, and that's all about the exploration. The C is for companion for you folks. It's all about up through the late teens. That's all about, your running fiefs and duchies and stuff like that. It's got rules for running stuff proper, as well as rules for leading campaigns as a general or an admiral and that sort of a thing. So you're leading that sort of thing. And then finally, the M is up to level 36. That's all about multiplayer housing, and also it's all about the quests for immortality, and then the immortality rolls are DI, where you're playing as a gnome mortal and a god. So those are the 5 levels of Back Me. That's where the acronym comes from. And again, this starts it off very strongly with the exploration and the E side of things. And this again starts off Mystara strongly. So this is the start of the exploration modules of gaming in Dungeons and Dragons, as well as Back Me too. So it's not just the first one in a line, but it's also the first one too. So it's heavily influential for that reason. The plot and stuff is pretty light at times, because it's all about the explorations. It's all about learning how to explore rather than, a greatly detailed world building, right? And plots and stuff like that. So it's a little light at times, because that's not what the point of the module is for you folks. It's all for people that are starting out and so forth. So that's why, it can be a little light at times for the plot. I have run this a few times in my campaigns. Pretty much every campaign I run, I try to run this. Love it lots. It's great stuff. I have done it as a key component, and I would have them while exploring the Isle of Dread, coming across dungeons that made sense for a lost isle like White Blue Mountain, or this hidden shrine of Tomoa-chan, or the dwellers of the Forbidden City, that sort of thing. So I'd add those in. Love it lots. My copy was included with the X1 box set, the expert set box set, rather than individually proper. That was how it was hugely introduced and made very, very popular. For those reasons, it's one of the best-selling and most in-print sets of all time of any module. And Dungeons & Dragons, just as a heads up, you can do pretty much anything you want to with the Isle of Dread after you're finished exploring it. You can colonize it. You can set up trade embargoes. We set it up as our home base for explorations of the City of Dread, and going and checking out various islands and so forth, and running a bunch of those sorts of things. You can do pretty much whatever you want to with it. It's your oyster. This is the first adventure published with an exploration theme. I already talked about that. All right, so this really started the Mystara setting strongly, like I mentioned earlier, with maps and such. If you're running this, I would suggest a prelude of U1, the Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, which is more for a level or 2 earlier, at the end of which you wind up with a boat. And what I would do at the end of that, in addition to giving the boat, is to also just give them some notes you know how X1 starts out with you finding stuff about a forgotten treasure on a forbidden island that you have heard about in logs and stuff. Just add those to that boat, and now they've got a boat in a way and a reason to do some stuff. So that's how I would do this as a run you want for you folks. Just as a heads up, I think they run seamlessly together. All right, and so there you are. It's an absolute classic of classics. It's a 10 out of 10. Love it loads. It's heavily influential. It's known. It's beloved. Everybody likes it. Everybody loves it, and so forth. Some people had it. It was number 16 overall, voted as the modules by experts in the field, and so forth for the 30th anniversary of the game. But I feel like it's a lot better than 16. Halfway through the top 30, it's an absolute 10 out of 10. 1 out of 1. It stands alone. And that's my thoughts on Olive Red for you folks. So there you are. Have you read this? Have you played this? Have you run it as a dungeon master like me a few times? Have you played it? Have you done both? Love to hear more about your thoughts, right? And that sort of a thing. What your thoughts are? Have you played it? Do you agree or disagree with my 10 out of 10? Let's talk about it. Please try to keep these things spoiler free. You'll note that I didn't talk about spoiler stuff that's happening. Oh, there's not that many. Right, and so forth. Since it's more about exploration than it is about a plot, but yeah, try to keep it spoiler free, and so forth. I think they just did such a classic version and a take of the King Kong world and the Lost Island and such. Absolutely classics to my mind for those reasons. They just nailed that pulp era out of the park in a major way. So that's X1 that gets everything started. For you folks, if you like this, why not hit the subscribe button? Because I try to do D&D and BattleTech stuff and some other wargame stuff too on a regular basis for you folks. And then also hit the like button too and let your friends know. That's really important. I really want to sort of monetize the channel. We're still about 600 hours, fewer than where we need to be to monetize the channel. So I'm still trying to get that done too. So I appreciate it if you just watch and have your friends watch it too. That'd be awesome. So that's the key part, is just watching it and sharing it with your friends. So for last week, you can check it out. Like I mentioned earlier, I did the X8 for you folks. The Drums on Fire Mountain. So you can check that out too if you like this one too. Since they're from the same genre, era, and series and world building. They're both in my style. So that's kind of fun too for you folks. And then, so check that out too if you're interested in it. As a reminder, this channel is named The Worst Thing About New Books. That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones. This is definitely some older stuff. In case you would play it, but you read it first, all the way through, back to back. So there you are. And then thank you so very, very much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling. So I appreciate it so very, very much. Thanks again and have an amazing day.